So now we've reached the halfway point. We're down to layer 4, the transport layer, and this is the very bottom layer of the host layers. So what is this all about? Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Well, this layer is all about end-to-end connections and reliability. And I like to call this the post office layer because this is all about ensuring that data arrives safely from the source to the destination. And there's two different protocols that are commonly used. And let me go ahead and get my tool ready. So I want to go ahead and circle this and I actually do a little square to cover it. So this is using the TCP or the UDP protocols, and these are two very important protocols, and we're actually going to spend a little bit of time talking about these later in the course when we talk about TCP/IP. But the goal with TCP, the Transmission Control Protocol, or UDP, the User Datagram Protocol, is that we use these two different protocols, we select one or the other to determine how we're going to send data across the network. It's either going to use TCP or it's going to use UDP. And this determines how data is going to be sent across and how we're going to set up sessions and how reliable it's going to be. So when we're talking about this layer 4, we're talking about us being the post office, us being the mail person delivering these actual packets of information and ensuring they get there and determining what sort of controls we have in place. So from a very high level perspective, without going into details before we get into our next section, we're actually going to talk about TCP and UDP. What you need to know is that this ensures that data arrives safely from the source to the destination. So there's different control measures in place when we're talking about TCP and we're talking about UDP to ensure that data gets there properly and safe. Now, another portion of this is that it breaks this up. It breaks the data up into segments. So the data is going to be broken up into segments, and as you can see down here is that we have it broken up into segments, and it's coming across in bits and pieces, and then when it gets from one end to the other, it reassembles the data into a data stream that can be read by the presentation layer and the application layer. So that's what layer 4 is, the transportation layer, all in a nutshell. It's all about ensuring that data arrives safely from one side to the other, and that we break it up and segment it into pieces, and then we reassemble it when it gets to the other side. And we're using TCP or UDP when we're doing this. So now let's go ahead and let's start with our top layer of the media layers. We're going to talk about the network layer in our next video.